we do deep dive into with protagonists and telcos themselves, I'd like to be joined by Roland MONTAGNE, wireless and 5G lead analyst, and Frédéric Pujol, fiber and gigabit lead analyst for IDATE, to have a big picture when it comes to telcos. Gentlemen, the stage is definitely yours. You can actually grab a seat over there around the desk or use the lectern. But actually, yes, which will be really interesting with you is have the big picture for the next 10 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce this session to you, talking first about FTTx rollout, as we all know that this technology will be quite intensive in terms of investment needed. First message is to say that we know that fiber to the home is progressing worldwide, but we know also that the pace can be different depending on each region of the world. You have here the mapping of the worldwide FTTH leaders worldwide, and you see that things are happening mainly in eastern part of the world, in Asia Pacific, firstly, with the big ones being in China. A message being that, by the way, China Mobile today is number 2 after China Telecom. But you see also here the pioneers countries such as Japan and Korea being on the league. The only one, the 2 players not being a leader in this camp are located in Russia with Rostelecom, but also in the US with the Fios Verizon deployment. The next candidate, and you should be happy, Carlos, should be Telefonica, which is quite intense on FTTH rollout, of course, in Spain, but also applying the same strategy of fiber to the home in the countries where they are present in Latin America, like Brazil, Chile, as an example. Sure. Also, when we're looking at Europe, the coverage is not really the same depending where you are living in Europe. We see here 3 zones in terms of large coverage. First is eastern part of Europe, where over there copper is not in a good state or even absent. So you see here huge coverage happening in eastern part of Europe. Also the Nordics, who have been the pioneers in terms of FTTH rollout, countries such as Sweden or Norway. And the third category, being on the top of the league, is south of Europe, with countries such as Portugal or Spain. So, as I was saying, for sure, fiber will need larger investment, but we try here to suggest what could be a few solutions to solve this challenge. First, we know that it is quite intense and sometimes nearly impossible, said by the players, to cover the very last % of population when you talk about FTTH. This is where investment could be very intense for fiber to the home. We are talking here on the last 5 or 10%. But we see today solutions happening. Open access and public funding can be a solution. We have, I remember you, at the European level, structural fund from 2010 to 2020, up to 6 billion euro on the market. We have also investment funds today active in several markets all across Europe, but always when public funding is used, it is for leveraging private investment. Another solution could be co-investment, and we have also good examples in Europe in terms of co-investment with players clearly positioned, such as Vodafone, for example, in several countries in Europe. Another point is the difference of ARPU when looking at FTTH rollout, and here it will be very interesting to have the point of view of Craig from Verizon, because we see a lot of difference in terms of ARPU between the US, for example, and Europe. I have in mind a Fios TV ARPU of more than $150 US. If you compare on the offer today promoted by French telco for fiber to the home, it is less than 20 euro. So we see here a point of debate, and of course, TV could be a solution for telco to leverage this ARPU. We know also that today we have a second wave of a convergence between content and pipes, and we have seen large investment in content from telcos, in sports also, the example of Dutch Telecom in the past, BT, or also investing largely in sport, or the push of Altice Studio, for example. Last point is that fiber to the home is not only for residential market. Of course, it's the first market, and telco have to be innovative to propose always appealing services to the residential. But most of the time, especially in Europe, enterprises are not very far from homes, so there is here a clear market for FTTH to target SMEs, medium-sized enterprises, and especially to promote cloud-based services with short latency. The last important point is, of course, this fiber will be needed for performing backhaul for the 5G of tomorrow. It's known that probably we will have numerous cell sites needed, at least at the in urban areas, but also in suburban area. And here we see really a source of revenue for fiber business. But another point is that maybe also this 5G can be a competitive technology with fixed wireless. We know the announcement of Verizon and AT&T saying that the first service that we propose with 5G will be fixed wireless, but I propose here to give the mic to Frédéric.